Hello, and welcome to another edition of On the Road with Legal Talk Network. This is Jennifer Novak, the chairperson for the California Lawyers Association Environmental Law Section. I'm the host for today's episode, which is being recorded on location at the 2019 California Lawyers Association Annual Meeting in Monterey, California. Joining me now, I have...
Hi, I'm Allison Smith.
Hello, I'm Miles Hogan.
Hi, I'm Paige Samblanet.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Before we get to our topics, please tell us more about yourself. Where do you work and what do you do? So we are going to start with our section's vice chair, Allison Smith.
That's right. I'm Allison Smith, the incoming vice chair of the Environmental Law Section, and I'm a partner at the law firm Stoel Rives LLP in Sacramento, California.
What kind of work do you do?
I do a mix of land use and CEQA, litigation, enforcement defense, and air quality and carbon law.
Okay. Miles, how about you?
I work at the city of Ventura in their city attorney's office, and I practice environmental law for them as well as other public law issues that arise. And most of my work focuses on water and wastewater work.
So Paige, you're actually a law student member of our section. Where are you currently at school and what are you studying?
That's correct. I'm a student at Loyola Law School in Los Angeles, and currently I'm interested in environmental law. My background was in environmental, so that's what I'm going to pursue.
Sounds good. So we are here at the annual meeting. We are one of the many sections of CLA that have had the opportunity to present some educational panels. Allison, you are our outgoing education chair, and so can you tell us about some of the panels that the environmental law section had here?
That's right. This year, we put on 3 different panels at the annual meeting related to environmental law topics. And we also partnered with the international law section to put on a panel as well. So, Jen, you were one of the presenters on one of those panels, so I'll look forward to hearing about that panel from you directly. But to tell you a little bit about the other panels that we sponsored this year, one was related to stormwater. Stormwater citizen suits are an active part of environmental law in California. So we had one of our section leaders, Kim Bick, presenting with a consultant on stormwater citizen suits. We also had one related to California's actions through state legislation, enforcement, and lawsuits to counteract rollbacks of federal environmental laws that's happening under the current administration. And that one was put on by one of our advisors to the section, Gary Lux, as well as Stacy Geis from Earth Justice. And we partnered with the International Law section to do a panel related to how California is participating in, and in some instances, leading international frameworks to mitigate climate change.
And as you mentioned, I had the opportunity to speak on a panel relating to the Los Angeles River. I was joined by John Bishop, who is the Chief Deputy Director for the State Water Resources Control Board, and we looked at the history of the river and the conflict between treating it as a river, even though it has been channelized in concrete for probably about 80 years now, and how the mindset of treating it like a vehicle to get rid of water is really changing, and we're now looking at water as a beneficial resource that we need to reclaim and turn into parks and use for water supply. So it was both a technical as well as a policy look at what's happened with the river and where we're going. So that was actually pretty enjoyable to look at. We have a number of other educational programs that our section does. Miles, I believe that you're in the process of putting on a webinar soon for young lawyers. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, and you mentioned the term young lawyers, so I'll just briefly explain what that is. The California Young Lawyers Association is part of the California Lawyers Association now, and a young lawyer is somebody in their first 8 years of practice. And so they created positions where every section has a liaison on the California Young Lawyers Association board, and we try to create programming that's specifically geared toward young lawyers. And we're looking forward to putting on a 101 series in different environmental law topics. We hope to do the first one sometime in December on the California Environmental Quality Act. And then next year, moving on to other topics such as water and other areas.
You also had the opportunity to moderate a panel recently at our diversity conference. And can you tell us a little bit about how that went for you?
Yes, that was a great half-day conference that the Environmental Law section put on that was co-sponsored by CYLA. And the specific panel that I moderated, the title was The Power of Diversity, How Individual Identities and Perspectives Contribute to Environmental Law and Policy. And the panel went through 4 different questions that centered on the topics of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And the conference, I think, went really well. There was good attendance by young lawyers, both law students and people in their first 8 years of practice. And at the end of the day, we had a mixer. We also try to offer lots of networking opportunities through the environmental law section and through CYLA. And so we had fun networking after the interesting panels for the day.
Sounds great. So, Paige, how did you, as a student, become involved in the section?
So I became involved in this section actually during my first year of law school. I'm currently a 3L. And I heard about the Yosemite Environmental Law Conference from actually a fellow law student in his 3rd year. And I decided to go to the conference. And I attended. I met a bunch of incredible practicing attorneys. And then I heard about the Diversity Fellowship Program. And I actually I applied and I got chosen as a fellow.
Where did you end up working that summer?
California Energy Commission.
And if I could just interject, the environmental law section every year offers, on average, 4 fellowships where we provide some funding to law students as well as help place them with nonprofit organizations or government organizations with positions for the summer. So it's one of the programs that we are extremely proud of as a way to support law students, help bring them into the environmental field, and it was great to be able to have you working on that with us and starting to get involved that way. Where did you end up working for your fellowship?
I ended up working at the California Energy Commission for my 1L summer, and throughout the fellowship program, I actually, besides working and having my summer paid for, there were numerous different networking opportunities that the environmental law section put on for the fellows. Because in general, I think that a lot of the fellows, we know that we want to practice environmental law, but it's hard to kind of get into this space if you don't have the connections and don't know a lot of people in the space. And so they gave us numerous opportunities to network with a bunch of different attorneys and kind of help to guide us and become our mentors, not just for our one summer of the diversity program, but throughout our law school experience.
So as I mentioned, the Diversity Fellowship Program is one of the programs our section has that we're extremely proud of. We're probably most known for our Environmental Law Conference at Yosemite every year. I'm going to put this back to Allison. What are some of the panels that we have going this year that you're especially excited about?
Right, that's right. We have coming up next week our 4-day conference right outside of Yosemite National Park. And we're going to be holding 24 different panels on everything from contaminated sites and chemical regulation, water quality, water supply, air quality, climate change issues, land use and housing in California, the impact of wildfires. So it's really a broad range touching on all the different environmental law topics that impact California and that we see in California. And we also have a lot of interesting additional programs at the Yosemite Conference. And this year, we're bringing the Wild and Scenic Film Festival to the conference one afternoon. We're going to have a kids show because lots of lawyers bring their families to the conference with them. So in the afternoon, we'll have a kids show of age-appropriate movies from the Wild and Scenic Film Festival, and we'll also have a nighttime show for that features more adult content. We're going to have 2 special lunch programs this year that are new. Senator Scott Wiener from the California Bay Area is going to be speaking on a panel relating to housing, one of his key issues and focus in the legislature. And he's going to be doing a Q&A over lunch following his session. And we're also going to have a lunchtime panel from top practitioners that will give top tips to law students and lawyers that are new to the environmental space. Some of the other programs we do include outdoor programming. So we typically are in the conference rooms with no windows during the morning, but we use the afternoons to get outside. And some of that is informal hikes, mountain bike rides, fly fishing trips, but some of it is also programming that's led by a practitioner in a field. This year we'll have a geology hike. We'll have a program related to how Yosemite National Park is using technology to control bear populations and bear interactions with humans. We'll have a program on diversity in the national parks from one of Yosemite's park rangers, as well as a program on fire ecology in the park. So those are really fun opportunities to do some learning that's not just for CLA credit, and also get outside and explore some of the park. The other thing that I want to highlight about the Yosemite Conference is some of the really engaging plenary speakers that we're going to have. Before we go into breakout smaller sessions, each morning we start out the day with a plenary speaker. And this year we'll be hearing from Dean Erwin Chemerinsky, Dean of Berkeley Law School, the head of the California EPA and the California Natural Resources Agency, Jared Blumenfeld and Wade Crowfoot, as well as Corey Carew, who's a former practitioner who is an expert in diversity in the legal profession. So we're really excited about our lineup this year. It's going to be one of our highest attendance years to date. And we encourage everyone to check out our programs if you can come to Yosemite next week. But we'll also be taping a lot of those programs video, and you'll be able to see those through CLA's online CLE catalog.
And I will note that one of the most exciting things about the people we have at Yosemite is that because we're such a heavily regulated legal area, we have people from the federal agencies, from all sorts of state agencies. You're in the same room with the environmental groups who may be shaping policy or bringing lawsuits. So there's a very diverse group of people, including technical consultants, lawyers, law students, and others, all at the same conference, all having that opportunity to get to know each other through informal hikes, through the networking opportunities you've mentioned, and then also to get their pearls of wisdom on our various panels. So I think that's one of the things that makes the Yosemite Conference so special, and I'm excited that you've planned a great conference.
Jen, that's one of the special things about our section and also about Yosemite. You have people like me in private practice that are most often representing the regulated entities and sectors of business in California. And sitting right next to me will be the people that I might be across the table from in litigation or in a transaction. And we have the opportunity to really talk on a personal level, and it doesn't have to be in the context of when we're in a adversarial context, in our day-to-day work. And that's how all of our programs in this section is. And our leadership of the section is made up of people from federal and state and local government, from environmental groups and other NGOs, from private practice, and also in-house counsel from a lot of different sectors.
So my hope for us, you and I, as we lead this section this year, is to take that same feeling of goodwill and cooperation and collaboration, even under adversarial conditions, and move it throughout the year, continue to put on quality programming like the ones we've been discussing today, as well as more opportunities to network and get to know each other. And at this point, I think we have reached the end of our road for this episode. I want to thank Allison Smith, Miles Hogan, and Paige Samblanet for joining us today. If our listeners have questions or wish to follow up, how could they reach each one of you? Allison.
You can reach me at allison.smith@stoel.com.
Hi, this is Miles. You could reach me at mhogan@cityofventura.ca.gov.
And you can reach me, Paige Samblanet, at paige.samblanet@lls.edu.
Also, thank you to our listeners for tuning in. If you like what you heard, please rate and review us in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app. I'm Jennifer Novak, and until next time, thank you for listening.
If you'd like more information about what you've heard today, please visit LegalTalkNetwork.com. Subscribe via iTunes and RSS. Find us on Twitter and Facebook, or download our free Legal Talk Network app in Google Play and iTunes. The views expressed by the participants of this program are their own and do not represent the views of, nor are they endorsed by, Legal Talk Network, its officers, directors, employees, agents, representatives, shareholders, and subsidiaries. None of the content should be considered legal advice. As always, consult a lawyer.